Olympics. Now it's your turn to make a difference.
Get involved at SpecialOlympics.org.
Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great.
Just like cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Welcome, everyone. It's time for Toker Talk Radio, and the phone lines are open. You can call me here at 971-533-7111. Open topics, whatever you would like to talk about, we are ready to talk about it here at cannabisradio.com. It's gonna take a while. At the end of the news today, I messed up and said 420 Radio News again. So it's going to take me a while to get this taken care of, to get it changed in my mind. But thanks for sticking with me as I tried to get through it. Big news coming out of Missouri. Of course, the folks at Show Me Cannabis are working hard for a medical marijuana amendment there in the state of Missouri. Also, the founder of Show Me Cannabis, Travis Maurer, has been featured on Newsweek magazine's cover story called Cannabis Crusader, and it's already generating a lot of talk here in the cannabis community, good and bad, with respect to its subject. All I can say is that Travis Maurer saved my ass when I was let go from Normal, and my first 3 months as an independent broadcaster, I couldn't have survived without him. So I got to recuse myself from any sort of discussions. But I did want to point out that there is a project from Show Me Cannabis that is working on an ad. Basically, they've got a I don't know what that is. Gratitude. Oh, Gratitude is what it's called instead of gratitude. Got it. They've got this Gratitude account, and I'm going to share this out in my Twitter at Radical Russ as well. And you can donate to this to help them get this commercial on the air. Obviously, it's a video commercial. All we've got here is audio since we're on the radio, but I'll play this ad for you. This is called Support Medical Marijuana in Missouri.
I'm guilty of trying to control my muscle spasms and manage my pain.
I'm guilty of trying to get my appetite back after going through chemo.
I'm guilty of trying to subdue my daughter's epilepsy.
I am guilty of treating my pain.
I'm guilty of treating my migraines.
I am guilty of treating my Alzheimer's.
I'm guilty.
I'm guilty.
I am guilty.
Medical marijuana isn't criminal. It's time for Missouri to join 23 other states and reform medical marijuana laws. Donate now.
Great commercial. As that runs, each one of those people is holding a placard like they're taking a mug shot. And the placards say lawyer or priest or student or family, just indicating that these are regular, everyday people that use medical cannabis, and they shouldn't be treated as criminals in the state of Missouri or anywhere. So if you can, get out to that Gratitude link that I put out on my Twitter feed at Radical Russ and make a donation. They just launched this thing, so they're only haven't even topped $100 yet. So they need a lot of money. $100,000 is their goal. Give what you can to show me cannabis, and let's get medical marijuana smack dab in the southern Midwest. There, you know, all these southern states have these CBD only laws. And of course, these CBD only laws help very few people, and those they do help, they don't help enough. They don't help them enough, because we found that even these epileptic kids that can get some benefit from CBD oil, they still need some THC. They still need some THC as part of that treatment. So a lot of these Southern parents are given this false hope of being able to treat their kids' epilepsy. And then they find that not only does what they have not work, but they have to get it from out of state. They have to go to Colorado or some other state that has CBD oil and risk the interstate trafficking charges bringing it back to their home state. This is a ridiculous way to try to run medical cannabis, especially when we're talking about little kids that have very little time on this planet without it. And we want to put these hurdles in people's way. No, let's get real medical marijuana passed in Missouri. Show these southern states they don't have to worry about real whole plant medical marijuana. That it's all right. And that it's going to help their kids out. And it's going to be so much better than these CBD only laws. I mean, I'm glad that places like Texas and Oklahoma have admitted some sort of medical utility to the cannabis plant. And that's nice. But I worry about that false hope element. A lot of these parents, they see the Dr. Gupta special and they think that CBD is going to be this miraculous cure. And then they find that it doesn't do what as was advertised, because they can't mess with the CBD THC ratios like they can in Colorado or other legalized states. It's time to open up as many options to these parents as possible, not restrict them to just a few.
And now, a message from former President George W. Bush to remind the American people of our responsibility in our nation's war on certain American citizens using non-pharmaceutical, non-alcoholic, tobacco-free drugs.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
That's right, America, use less drugs. Put down the Prozac, the Vioxx, and the Levitra, and turn to the herb. Use less drugs. Our national policy is no longer just say no, it's now just slow down.
You get me too high. I overanalyze. If you've ever been too high, then you can sympathize. You get me too high. And I start to fly if I said some silly thing, and that's the reason why.
The son of a Polish immigrant who grew up in a Brooklyn tenement. He went to public schools, then college, where the work of his life began, fighting injustice and inequality, speaking truth to power. He moved to Vermont, won election and praise as one of America's best mayors. In Congress, he stood up for working families and for principle, opposing the Iraq War, supporting veterans. Now he's taking on Wall Street and a corrupt political system, funded by over 1 million contributions, tackling climate change to create clean energy jobs, fighting for living wages, equal pay, and tuition-free public colleges.
People are sick and tired of establishment politics, and they want real change.
Bernie Sanders, husband, father, grandfather, an honest leader, building a movement with you to give us a future to believe in.
I'm Bernie Sanders, and I approve this message.
Earn your PhD in THC monetization with CannabisRadio.com. Don't be late.
Welcome back, everyone. 11 after the hour with that royalty-free almost version of My Sharona. You may have noticed some of the change in the sonic structure of the Russ Belville show as we move to a full 2-hour podcast, I'm having to take out all the copyrighted music. So that's going to be problematic for our 20 after break. As you know, we do our daily Toker Tunes 20 after break, and we get some stony music to play for you. I'm afraid that's going to go away starting in January. That's right, no daily Toker Tunes break starting in January, but all of the music editors you've come to know and love here on the show, at least it's offered to them, will still be a part of 420radio.org and their current live shows or current shows that they do for you. So you can still get your great music. It'll still be on 420radio.org. It just won't be a part of this show anymore. Yes, I know. So sorry, but yeah, we got to make it podcast friendly, so no copyrighted music. I did want to make a quick announcement of the upcoming International Cannabis Business Conference. I tell you, things are already heating up for my schedule. This weekend is the Northwest Cannabis Classic here in Portland. I'm a judge. I'm judging concentrates. And so it's on Sunday. I'll bring you some audio highlights from it coming up on next week's shows. The following weekend is the Emerald Cup. And everybody has been asking me, Russ, you going to the Emerald Cup? Are you going to be at the Emerald Cup? And they're always surprised to find out that I've never been to the Emerald Cup. I don't know that I'll make it this time, although I've been challenged to a debate on the Sean Parker initiative. I don't know why, but I've been challenged to a debate on this thing, and I'll accept the debate challenge. But here's the thing. You want me somewhere to debate, you got to pay for my transportation, my hotel, my food, right? I'm not going to, spend my own money to come to your debate. So if you can come up with the funds to get me there and get me per diem, hell yeah. I'll talk about legalization to anybody, anywhere, at any time. You just got to pay to get me there. So I don't think I'll be at the Emerald Cup. And then the next weekend is the weekend before Christmas. And then there's Christmas weekend. Then there's New Year's weekend. And then what do you know? We're smack into January. And in January, on the final weekend of January, I've been invited to the Hawaii Cannabis Expo in Honolulu. And I would love to get out to the Hawaii Cannabis Expo. I'd love the chance to meet my listener, Hi in Hawaii, who's been a big part of our chat room for a long time. Again, it just is a matter of a plane ticket, a hotel room, and money to eat. So I'm working on it. We're going to see if we can get some sponsorship to get out to Hawaii. That'd be my first time out in Hawaii. But that's on the final weekend of January, which is also my birthday weekend. It's January 31st. I turned 48. The following weekend, now this is interesting. High Times does their Northern California Cup, or Southern California Cup, I should say, down in San Bernardino at the National Orange Center, the NOS Center, right? Normally they do it like the first or second weekend of February, but this year they're doing it 2 weekends in a row. They're going to have the High Times Southern California Cannabis Cup on that final weekend in January and the first weekend in February. So I'm going to cover that second weekend, the first weekend in February for CannabisRadio.com. And then the following weekend is the International Cannabis Business Conference. And that's what I wanted to get to here. This is going to be on Valentine's weekend. Like the second year in a row, they've done this on Valentine's weekend. International Cannabis Business Conference. Keynote speakers include Andrew Sullivan. Now, you know Andrew Sullivan from the Daily Dish, longtime blogger and political commentator. You see him on Real Time with Bill Maher. Was a fierce activist for gay rights, for marriage equality. Andrew Sullivan spoke at one of the other International Cannabis Business Conferences and said it was the best conference, period. So Andrew will be back. Also, the king of cannabis himself, Arjun Roxam. Arjun Roxam, of course, the cannabis seed seller and founder of Greenhouse Coffee Shops and Greenhouse Seed Company in Amsterdam. You can find out more about him at the website, kingofcannabis.com. Not to be confused with the King of Pot. That was Michael Malta back in Massachusetts. Rest in peace. But Arjun Roxam will be speaking at the International Cannabis Business Conference, as will Tommy Chong. That's right. Tommy Chong's been signed on for a keynote address at the International Cannabis Business Conference. You can find out more at internationalcbc.com. Internationalcbc.com. And I'll be honest, though, it's going to cost you. It's $499 for early bird tickets. And then you've also got to get your rooms at the Hyatt Regency, which are not cheap. So that's part of, some people worry about that and bring up the idea that, these things aren't available for the average activist. They're too expensive for the average activist. And that's true. This is a business conference. It's an International Cannabis Business Conference. And these business conferences, no matter what business you're in, auto parts, pharmaceuticals, it doesn't matter. These conferences cost money. Any of them that are a professional development conference, you're going to spend $300 to $500 to go to these things. Now, there will still be Seattle Hemp Fest. There will still be Portland Hemp Stock. There will still be all sorts of events that are available for the activist community. Not to mention, normal meetings and so forth. But these events are going to cost some money. Other people that will be speaking at the International Cannabis Business Conference include Amanda Ryman, my friend from the Drug Policy Alliance, a big activist in California for legalization. We've also got Lucas Behal, who's the managing director of CannaFest, who does cannabis trade shows and so forth. So many of the speakers getting lined up here for the event, all sorts of exhibitors. Celeb Stoner will be there. Freedom Leaf will be there. I'll be there with 420 Radio and CannabisRadio.com. And we hope you can be there too. Check it out at internationalcbc.com. Also, keep in mind there's great networking opportunities and entertainment events going on at these things as well. I'm pretty sure that Alex will be able to get Del the Funky Homo Sapien as part of our event because they're good friends. The program at the International CBC includes a congressional update, an update on California regulations, a look at legalization in California in the future, the other states looking to legalize, some successful business strategies, how to pitch your cannabis, trends in cannabis and cannabis around the world. That's coming up. And of course, the legendary after parties that are becoming historic in the movement. I've been to a couple of them, and I tell you, they're a lot of fun. Great people to meet, great information to pick up, great events to be enjoyed. It's the International Cannabis Business Conference, internationalcbc.com. I'll be there covering it live for cannabisradio.com just in case you can't afford to go. But hey, grab your sweetie, make your way to San Francisco for Valentine's Day. It's going to be a good one.
Maybe we should start at 420, right? Marijuana reference.
And a good marijuana reference it is, Homer, because it is 420 here in the Pacific time zone. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we got some Electric Tuesday music. Electric Bob calling us up from Phoenix, Arizona, with some electronica right after this.
Imagine life without taxes. Let New Era Certified Public Accountants, NewEraCPAs.com, handle your Cannabis 280E and tax strategy. Get your business prepared with New Era CPA's Cannabis Finance Bootcamp. NewEraCPAs.com, with years of experience in the industry, we are one of the nation's leading accounting firms for growers, dispensaries, and ancillary companies from Washington to California. NewEraCPAs.com. At midnight, July 1st, 2015, adult marijuana prohibition came to an end in Oregon. Immediately, over 400,000 adults who consume cannabis responsibly were no longer criminals.
This is what freedom sounds like. Brought to you by Portland Normal.
Get.Buzz. .Buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and new experiences. .Buzz is the premier online destination for internet users seeking the latest news on a variety of topics. .Buzz appeals to groups active in blogging, communications, journalism, advertising, and marketing. .Buzz offers registrants a stronger alternative to the shrinking namespace of existing top-level domain names, such as .com, .net, and .org. Get your name now at get.buzz.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Electric Tuesday, featuring the latest in electronic dance music and other cutting-edge genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tune.
All right, welcome back for some Daily Toker Tunes. We've got Electric Bob on the line. How you doing, Bob?
I'm feeling pretty irie, Russ. How you doing?
Pretty good. What's the temperature like in Phoenix these days?
It's a nice 60.
60. Oh, so it's finally livable. How perfect is that? All right. So I got a number of tunes that came through on the Dropbox. I'm not sure which one you've got loaded up for today.
Yeah, I'm going to be gone for a week, so I loaded up a bunch. This is actually Neuropunk. He's out of Seattle, actually. He just had a show in Oregon, in Portland at the Rose Pub recently with a bunch of other guys. That's cool. I mean, I was just last week at the Karaoke from Hell with Bacon Dan, and the band Gogol Bordello came in for their after party. They had been playing in Portland, and they're a band that Gordon Green had just played on the previous Wednesday. So kind of we're getting all these Daily Toker Tunes bands coming in here to Portland. Yeah, man, I need to go out to Portland and go see some shows, man. I guess so. Now, I also know that you've got a record label that you've got put together. You're working with some other artists. What's the latest on that? I've been really busy. I'm putting together an album and 2 compilations right now. I'm getting them pressed to CD. Oh, very cool. Yeah, we're gonna release with like proper artwork, proper CD cases with inlays and clear trays and all that good stuff, like a retail CD. Right on. Now, are these artists that you pick up from the local area, or are they from all over? They're from all over the world. I have people here in Arizona. I have people all over the U.S., Canada, UK, Australia, Japan. I work with a lot of people. Yeah. All right. Well, if people want to know more about that, do you have a website where people can look up the artists and such? You can check us out at SoundCloud. One of my record labels is Broken Souls. It's BROKEN space SOLES. And then my other label is Dark Till Dawn Records. It's TIL, just with one L. And you can find us on SoundCloud. I'm working to get our tunes on iTunes and Juno Download. Very cool. All right. Well, let's get to some of this music here for our 420 break. And I hope you're able to take a 420 break. Is everything good supply-wise there in Arizona? Oh, yeah, man. I got a medical card, so I'm straight right now. I say that when I know there's people struggling, but that's just how it is. That's just how it is. You got to do what you got to do. All right. Exactly. Let's get into the tune. This is Neuropunk. Is that the name, right? Yeah, Neuropunk. It's Better Tomorrow. All right.
The Russ Belville Show is proudly sponsored by the Marijuana Business Association. The MJBA, called by NBC News the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, is the fastest growing business association in the fastest growing industry in America. I've been working with the MJBA for years, and I personally invite you to join the MJBA. MJBA also publishes the popular MJ Headline News on Facebook and the MJNewsNetwork.com and Marijuana Channel 1 on YouTube. Visit mjba.net for more details. At Herbie's Cannabis Seeds, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality seeds from the world's most respected cannabis seed producers, all at the lowest online prices. You can find Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. All cannabis seeds are sold as souvenirs and as a means of preserving cannabis genetics. Herbie's Seeds in no way intends to condone, promote, or incite the use of illegal or controlled substances. We strongly urge all prospective customers to check their national laws prior to placing an order. Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. Proud sponsors of The Russ Belville Show and 420 Radio. You're listening to 420 Radio. Listen Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific for Hemp Beach TV, podcasting at hempbeach.com. Skunk and his crew bring you the best festivals and events from all over the country in this weekly show, courtesy of Hemp Beach TV. Entertaining and lots of fun for the 420-friendly party crowd. Check our online listings for Hemp Beach TV with Skunk and the crew from hempbeach.com. Hey everybody, it's Radical Russ here from 420 Radio, inviting you to be like me and get your ink done at Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo, Fort Worth's most female-friendly, clean, sterile, awesome tattoo shop. Thomas and his crew are true artists who can design you a custom piece or use a design you bring in. Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo also offers all styles of tattooing as well as piercings and all-around fun. In the DFW area, stop by Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Trust me, it'll feel awesome.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. We're in the bottom half of the second hour of the Russ Belville Show. Toker Talk Radio. Phone lines are open at 971-533-7111. That's 971-533-7111. If you got any questions, comments, suggestions, topics, anything you want us to discuss, we can do it here, where you become the voice of the marijuana nation on the Russ Belville Show. Checking out some of the Off the Warpath news. This is our segment where we talk about things not directly related to the war on drugs. The police chief in Chicago has been fired by Mayor Rahm Emanuel. The city's police superintendent was fired a week after the release of the dash cam video that showed a white Chicago police officer fatally shooting a black teenager 16 times. The dismissal of Gary McCarthy, the city police superintendent, comes just days after he insisted to reporters that the mayor has his back. The mayor praised McCarthy's leadership, but said it's an undeniable fact the public's trust in the police has eroded. Protesters have been calling for McCarthy's dismissal since the handling of the death of Laquan McDonald. Now, keep in mind, Laquan McDonald was killed in October of 2014, and it took this many months before the video was made public. And you know that had this video not been made public, there'd have been no charges for this police officer, and this police superintendent would still have his job. And we're starting to see pushback from the cops now with respect to the citizens wanting to keep an eye on him. I read a quote the other day that said, "A camera to a cop is like a crucifix to a vampire." And now everybody's got a camera on their cell phone, and a lot of these cell phones have live streaming that can send the video directly to the web. So it doesn't even matter if the cop snatches your phone or deletes the files on it, because it's already made it up to the cloud. And this has led to a pushback by police officers citing something they call the Ferguson effect. And they're, of course, referring to Ferguson, Missouri, where Michael Brown was murdered by the cops and all the protests took place and the riots and so forth. And the cops say that this Ferguson effect is the increase in violent crime in America recently being tied to cops who are afraid to react to the violent crime for fear that their reaction will be caught on videotape and go viral. And they'll lose their jobs and be sued and all that. What does that say for our police force? What does that say for policing in America when they feel like if we can see what they're doing, it's going to negatively impact their job? They are tacitly telling us that if they're not allowed to beat and shoot and kill people with impunity, why, it's just going to get more violent out there. And this is this, you know, I like to call it the Colonel Jessup theory, right? You remember, is it Jessup from You Can't Handle the Truth, right? Remember Jack Nicholson? A Few Good Men. That was the movie, wasn't it? You can't handle the truth. And the idea, you know, his character being cross-examined by Tom Cruise, and the character talks about the terrible job they have to do trying to keep people safe and the dirty and dastardly things they have to do. And you want us there on that wall and you wouldn't want to know what goes on. And it's better off you don't know because of the terrible things that have to happen. And if we have to be all politically correct and, you know, care about people's rights, then we'll never be able to protect us. That's the mindset of a lot of these cops. That's the mindset of a lot of these war on drugs people. Really, I really believe their mindset is, yeah, marijuana, you know, we shouldn't bust people for marijuana, lock them up or anything. But if we didn't, well, you know, things would go haywire. There'd be chaos in the streets. You gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet, right? We gotta accept some collateral damage, or else things would just be much worse. We'd have addicts in the streets and crime would run rampant. That's the attitude of a lot of people. And it shows in these cops claiming there's some sort of Ferguson effect, where if we film them, they can't do their jobs. Well, your job shouldn't involve abusing people. That's the point we're making here. You know, I remember interviewing a cop years ago, before I even got this show. And it was on one of the cable access shows I did. I remember talking to this cop, you know, about tasers. The subject was tasers at the time and how they were being overused and people were dying from, you know, electrocution and such, you know, heart attacks from tasers and all that. And the cop pointed out that tasers were originally deployed to be a less than lethal option for cops so that they wouldn't have to shoot people. They could use a taser instead. But guess what happened? Shootings didn't go down. Cops are still shooting as many people as they've always shot, and they're tasing people now. Right? We didn't reduce the shootings at all, but we added a whole bunch of people getting shocked. And so this cop, as I was interviewing him, I said, well, you know, he made the point of like, look, I was a cop in the 60s. I was a cop during the unrest that went on in the late 60s. And we didn't have tasers and we didn't kill people. Yeah, knocked some heads. You know, I'm not saying the cops were great, right? I'm not saying they were wonderful throughout history. Of course not. But this cop at least pointed out that, look, we didn't have this problem of killing people in great numbers like we do now. I mean, we've got, you know, you're more likely to be killed by a cop in this country than by a terrorist. And that's including all our mass shooters as terrorists, right? You're still more likely to be killed by a cop. So, yeah, enough of this Ferguson effect idea. We need more of this. We need more of these cameras. You know, that was one of the fears, you know, coming up. I remember growing up in the late 20th century. Oh, Big Brother, 1984. Big Brother is watching you. Well, now it's turned around and Little Brother is watching them. We all have cameras now and we can all share this information now. And that's got the people in power terrified. They're not used to being seen and recorded. There are a lot of groups out there online you can get involved with. Filming Cops, I think, is one of them. Cop Watch is another. And there's differences between the groups. One's more liberal leaning, one's more libertarian leaning. I don't care about the politics of it. I care about we're filming cops. And I would encourage people, whenever you see someone pulled over or being in interface with a cop, record it. You don't know what might happen. And by you recording it, you may change their behavior toward that person. Now, don't get in between them and the person. Don't approach them. You got to stay back. You got to let them do their job. You cannot interfere with the police officer, but you have the absolute right to film them. No matter what they say. If they say stop filming, you say, officer, I have a First Amendment right to film you. Officer, we're in a public place. I have a right to film you. Now, lately, we've seen some cops taking up some actions to try to block people who are filming. I saw a film recently from Las Vegas where there was a person being dealt with, drunk driver or whatever. And the person trying to film him is across the street filming him. And two of the cops come in and try to intimidate him and stand in front of him and stand in front of his camera so that all he can shoot is the cop's chest. And this guy's trying to hold his camera up, above his head to try to look, and they're holding their hands up to try to block it. We've got cops now actively trying to block filming. Now, it's not against the law. I mean, they can stand and talk to people and so forth, but it's certainly against the gist of the law, the intent of the law to allow people to film. But don't ever fight the cops. If they confiscate your phone, tell it to the judge, get yourself a lawyer. Don't try to grab the phone back. Merely touching a police officer can get you an assault charge, and you don't want that. But please, if you've got the opportunity to film a cop, film a cop. You'll be glad you did.
Jive, marry, grifo, grass, hay. Technically, it's cannabis sativa, the common name, marijuana. She has found a crutch to see her through her difficulties instead of facing up to them and coping with them. And in time, she may be ready to try something different, something better.
Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, we've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com. And follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter. Tokers, there's no good reason to get your dog stoned. While it might not harm them physically, imagine being a dog who already begs for treats all day, and then imagine that dog having the munchies. Not cool. This is Radical Russ encouraging you to take a look at the Weed Blog every day. Johnny Green and the staff at the Weed Blog are on top of all the latest developments in the fight to end marijuana prohibition nationwide. You can even get the Weed Blog on your smartphone by installing the Weed Blog app for iPhone and Android. If it's about weed, it's on the Weed Blog, including my original writing. So don't delay. Read the Weed Blog today.
All right, welcome back, everyone. 43 after the hour, approaching 44 after. I'm Radical Russ. You're listening to Toker Talk Radio here on CannabisRadio.com. We got a phone call coming in from the 410 area code. 410, you're on the air. What's happening?
Hey, Russ, this is Dave, man. I'm calling from Arizona.
Hi, Dave.
I was listening to your rant there, about the cops. I 100% agree with you. But I think one thing I see missing from the narrative, from across the board, is that these cops are under control of city councils, county executives, governors, and that. And I think if you really want real change, that you're going to have to go after the people that are in charge of these police departments around everywhere, because they're just, they're the law enforcement people under the jurisdiction of these local and state governments,
Yeah.
And those are the people, I think that's missing from the narrative, that this goes on, and, our elected officials that are supposed to be taking care of this are just turning a blind eye,
Yeah, and
so anyway,
the other puzzle piece would be, maybe not so much a blind eye as they see it as, it's a line item on their budget. We got to bust so many people to get the fine money, to get the restitution money, and to get the asset forfeitures to fund our city or county.
I'm sure that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Are you in Maricopa County by any chance?
No, I'm way down south. I'm in Cochise County.
Okay, so not as bad as Bill Montgomery land, right?
Well, I don't know. Just put it this way, man. It's just I got like probably 3 churches within spitting distance of my house.
I get you. I get you very much, man.
Yeah, it's like good people, but they just have a different perspective on life. A lot of them come from just a different place and time. Yeah, it is. So
a
lot of it will age out, hopefully, and the world will become a calmer place.
No doubt.
So anyway, I just want to make that comment.
Okay.
That, we get down on the cops, but you know what? They're under the control of people we elect to control them.
Yeah.
And that's missing, I think, a lot.
I think you're right. Thanks for calling in, Dave. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, man. I love your show and try to catch you as often as I can. Thanks.
Yeah, spread the word. Spread the word. Yeah, we're here every weekday, and you can call in live in the second hour from 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. We got a whole live hour here where you can call in. We'd like to take all these calls and hear from people all across the marijuana nation. A lot of different perspectives out there. And yeah, I think Dave's got a good point there, and it does, speak to the fact that, some cops are sadistic bastards who, were never popular in high school and want to lord their power over people. But a lot of them, I think, are just cogs in the machine. And it's the machine itself that has to be addressed, right? Like, we got to tear down these laws that allow them, take the tools out of their toolkit. Some cops are just going to be assholes no matter what. So let's take some of their tools of assholery out of the toolkit, right? Let's make it so that just because you smell like weed, they can't start treating you badly. That's what we can do, is we can change these laws. But Dave's point about changing the politicians is also salient and can be done. We got it right here in the state of Oregon. We had 2 Democrats that were fighting for the nomination for Attorney General, Ellen Rosenblum and Dwight Holton. And Dwight Holton was an anti-marijuana son of a bitch. And we made that known here in the state of Oregon, and we raised money for Ellen Rosenblum. And despite all odds and all predictions that he would run away with the race, he lost. That's right. His anti-marijuana views cost him his job. And more of that needs to happen. More of these politicians, when they realize spewing reefer madness costs you your job, they'll stop spewing reefer madness. Another great example was Beto O'Rourke. He was a city council president or was he the mayor? I forget. But down in El Paso, Texas. Took on an 8-term congressman named Sylvester Reyes. Sylvester Reyes had won 8 elections and was guaranteed to win the 9th until Beto O'Rourke opposed him. And Sylvester Reyes ran these ads that a Republican, now these guys are Democrats, right? But that a Republican would typically run against a Democrat. And that was like, Beto O'Rourke smokes marijuana. He thinks marijuana ought to be legal. He'd legalize weed. What a drugged up loser Beto O'Rourke is. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the basic attack ad idea, right? Paint Beto O'Rourke as this big drug supporter. And he won. Despite the negative ads, or maybe because of the negative ads, Beto O'Rourke won that congressional district and recently won re-election to it. So more of these politicians are going to start to recognize that, hey, we can't be all reefer madness anymore. Already you've got Hillary Clinton slightly shifting her position, coming more toward the let's have medical marijuana side. And Bernie Sanders come right out and said he'd deschedule marijuana. The best possible move the feds could make, deschedule marijuana. So it's changing, folks. Now, I want to respond to one of my rants. I post all my radical rants at hightimes.com. You can catch them on Tuesdays and Fridays. And my radical rant from last Tuesday is getting passed around in a lot of drug reform circles. It's entitled Black Drug War Reparations. How would that work? And if you remember my rant, it was basically, how can we see to it that when as we're legalizing marijuana, it benefits the communities, primarily Black and Latino communities, that have been so devastated by the war on drugs. And I basically outlined 4 things we could do, kind of in increasing order of, severity is not the right word, increasing order of magnitude, of radicalness. All right, here's my idea, right? First of all, the least we can do when we legalize marijuana in a state is to not put in these ridiculous restrictions on people who previously have convictions in the drug war from being able to get a license. Like, if you were a weed dealer and you got busted, why should you not be able to get a license? Don't we want to make you legal? Why would we kick out the people who got busted for a grow when they're the people that best know how to grow? And this does have a racial impact because you're more likely to get busted if you're Black or Latino. So not giving licenses to people who've been busted is de facto racist because more people of color got busted. The second option is distribute the tax revenues in such a way that it benefits communities of color through education programs, job training programs, economic revitalization zones, whatever you want to call it. But neither of those 2 things stops white businessmen from coming in and capitalizing on legalization. So if you wanted to go further on this, how about an affirmative action plan for legalization, for the licenses? A scoring system, right? Like maybe you get extra points if you did time or got busted. And another idea would be to assign points or assign licenses based on the racial demographics of the drug war. Like if your county locked up 60% Black people and 40% white people, then 60% of the licenses should go to Black people and 40% to white people. Now, I knew writing this would generate some controversy, and that was what it was intended to do. Let's think about this and figure out how, if we're going to say there should be Black drug war reparations, how would we do that? And I'll address one of the comments on this, but right now we've got a phone call from the 425 area code. And so I want to find out what you have to say. You're on the air, 425. What's on your mind?
Hey, Radical Russ.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Woodman.
Hey there.
Hey, I don't want to keep jumping around with topics. Then you probably don't want to get me going on the police state that we find ourselves in. I just don't have any use for them, but I guess I'd like to talk with you about music and independent music, and it kind of sounds like that's what you're involved in, and kind of like to see what your thoughts are on festivals and live streams.
Yeah.
I don't know if now is a good time.
Big fan of it. Independent music is a lot of what I've played, in the first few years of doing this show because, we didn't have ASCAP and BMI and all that licensing, it costs money. So a lot of these independent guys were the first musicians that I played on the network. And as the network evolves, as 420 Radio continues to evolve, we're going to be a network that covers these festivals and these independent bands. So you're going to get even more of it here on 420 Radio.
Right on. I think that's what we need is more alternatives than what we're seeing on TV.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk with you. I don't know, you're talking about redistribution, just kind of, as it related to taxation and just, different paradigms. But I think that the music industry and protestivals and concerts can help in that regard. I mean, just look at Woodstock and just the anti-war movement in general. I think that there's so much centralization that's going on, and I just want to see what you think about, independent artists and paying people for like redistribution of like live streams. And where I'm going with this is cryptocurrency so artists can get paid. And I guess that would also be the festivals. You know, currently, you're probably aware of a lot of festivals, be it Hemp Fest. They have their own streams. But what if there was a way to restream that out? I mean, that's something that's going to take, somebody's going to have to give approval for rights and all that. But what about a way to microfund and pay artists directly, just so we don't end up with, Britney Spears and Justin Bieber over and over again? I just see what your thoughts are on paying people in that regard.
Thanks for your call. I appreciate that. And, that is something that I've been considering with this whole 420 radio evolution, is how we might integrate some of those ideas either through PayPal or through Bitcoin or anything like that. I don't have the tech experience to be able to pull it off, though. So if you do know of anybody that is interested in that and interested in developing that for 420 radio, please let me know. You can always get a hold of me. I'm Radical Russ everywhere. So you can get a hold of me on Gmail, radicalruss@gmail.com, on Twitter @RadicalRuss, on Facebook @RadicalRuss, Instagram @RadicalRuss, Periscope, YouTube, SoundCloud, probably MySpace and Tinder. I don't know. I've got an account out there everywhere. You shouldn't have any trouble getting in touch with me. I'm Radical Russ everywhere. But folks, that's about all the time we got for today. We got to close up shop because got more shows coming up here on CannabisRadio.com. Appreciate my calls. Love talking to people from all over this country. This weekend, I'll be at the Northwest Cannabis Classic here in Portland. I'm a judge, so I'll let you know how things go on Monday. We'll also have interviews with various vendors and contest entrants and speakers from the Northwest Cannabis Classic. For everyone here at CannabisRadio.com and Rolla J Studios here in beautiful, legal Potland, Oregon, I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth.
Last week on the Audio Stash, I presented an editorial here highlighting the racist enforcement of our current prohibition laws. We're going to continue to cover this aspect of prohibition with our guest on the program today, William Billy Murphy, Jr. Murphy is a former Maryland judge and one of our nation's top trial lawyers, who has a unique perspective on America's drug prohibition and its evisceration of our urban communities. We've aired Billy's speech at the 2006 Normal Conference on the Normal Events podcast and portions of that speech right here on the Audio Stash. It's a great privilege to welcome Billy Murphy here to the Audio Stash today. Billy, welcome to the program.
How are you doing?
Doing spectacular here today, Billy. Thanks again for taking time to join us. Just 2 weeks ago, the Bureau of Justice Statistics at the Department of Justice released data showing America has a record prison population, with the numbers of those in prison on probation or on parole disproportionately higher for young black men. Billy, are these numbers a surprise?
No, this is a result of a trend that began in 1968 when Richard Nixon decided to wage a war on drugs against black people and maintaining essentially a status quo in the white community, treating drug abuse and the drug issue as a medical problem. That had been the way that we were approaching drug addiction in America as a whole for many, many years. And the case law that was being developed in the pre-war on drugs era in the 60s was excellent case law where, for example, drug addiction was not regarded as a crime. It was regarded as a medical condition. And that was, frankly, the direction of criminal law until the civil rights movement and its aftermath, where black people took front and center stage in the struggle for equality in America, and the South got incredibly pissed off and decided no more. And Nixon, of course, wanted to switch the South to the Republican Party because they were thoroughly disgusted with the Democrats who had participated in the Civil Rights Movement. And so he was able to say explicitly and implicitly that we will solve your black problem for you if you switch sides. And so the Republicans, in essence, in many ways became the new racists. They took the Dixiecrat banner, reworked it, polished it up so that the targeted audience for racist response to black people understood the language they were using, responded